A Home for the Winter by Mr. O'Burney, 2nd grade, Stoddard Elementary, Washington, D.C. Eagle was confused. Searching the woods, the ground, as he flew south over the snowy woods and rocky cliffs along the great Potomac River, he didn't understand why the other animals weren't headed that way too. As the weather gets colder, it's harder for me to find food, so I fly to warmer weather. How do others, like black bear and white-tailed deer, survive the cold winter here? I just wish I could know. If only I could be a bear so I could find out. As Eagle flew, he began to feel a heaviness in his wings, and his body began to shake. He felt furry and soft as his white feathers turned to thick black fur, and his lightweight bird body turned into a heavy, thick body. Eagle's wings grew shorter and his hind legs grew longer and thicker. He had actually become a black bear. His body felt heavy, yet he floated down like a feather and landed in the soft snow near the frozen water of the Potomac River on 4 paws. Black Bear sniffed the ground and looked around. He felt a painful hunger in his stomach for fish and berries. So he waddled to the shore of the frozen river to catch a tasty meal. He ate all his fishy fill by the river for many days. He began to notice that each day seemed to be shorter than the one before it, and colder too. And he was growing bigger. After all that eating, Black Bear began to feel slow and sleepy. He felt a strong urge to curl up in a cozy cave in the cliff by the river and fall into a deep sleep. So he did. Though sleep seemed to go on and on for many weeks. As he slept, he dreamed about the other animals in the forest and what they were doing. He worried about White-tailed Deer. How could he survive the cold without finding a cozy cave as he had? As Black Bear dreamed, his body began to shake. He was shrinking as his color grew lighter. He felt antlers beginning to grow out of his head, and he felt his paws turn into hooves and his legs stiffen as he sprung up on all fours. He had become White-tailed Deer. At once, White-tailed Deer stepped gracefully out of the cave. He wandered over to snack on sugar maple and dogwood tree buds. As he munched, he noticed a small grove of pine trees. The boughs were covered in snow and sheltered the cozy space beneath them from the winter winds. Ah, he said, that looks just like the kind of comfortable spot to become my home for the winter. I shall leave in the morning to search for food and shall come back to my grove to rest. After falling asleep in his new tree shelter, White-tailed Deer dreamed of flying over open woods and water. He thought, how I wish I could be like Eagle and fly freely to warmer weather. At once his body began to shake ferociously. It began to feel lighter, as though it might be floating above the ground. He noticed a strong urge to flap what were once his legs and hooves, but no longer. White-tailed Deer suddenly woke to find he had taken the shape of an eagle. Eagle tested his wings and found them to be quite satisfactory. He flapped and flapped until he was once again soaring high above the Potomac River. It's so good to be free to fly once again. When he searched the ground below, he was pleased to spot Black Bear fishing by the river and White-tailed Deer returning to her cozy grove, heavy with a recent meal. But this time there was no snow on the pine boughs. While Eagle dreamed, the days had become longer, and the sun shone directly overhead. Spring had come, and now Eagle knew that he did not have to worry about the others surviving the winter ever again. They knew how, and they had done just fine. The end.